The Whitmore penthouse was the kind of place you'd see in glossy real estate magazines. Floor-to-ceiling windows, minimalist furniture, art pieces that cost more than most people's homes. Yet, despite all the luxury, the atmosphere wasn't cold. There were toys scattered in the living room, crayon drawings taped proudly to the fridge, and the faint scent of chocolate chip cookies lingering in the air. It was late, almost midnight, when Daniel Whitmore closed his laptop, his eyes tired from another day of endless calls and financial reports. He'd been a self-made millionaire since his late 20s, building a tech startup from scratch. But the biggest challenge of his life hadn't been running a business, it had been raising his daughter, Lily, alone. 3 years ago, his marriage ended abruptly. His wife, unable to handle the pressures of motherhood, had walked away, leaving Daniel with a toddler and a heart heavier than he'd ever known. For months, he juggled board meetings and diaper changes, contracts and lullabies. But it was Maria who had brought stability into their home. Maria wasn't just an employee. She had this calm, unshakable warmth that seemed to radiate in every room she entered. Lily adored her, she would run to the door every morning the moment she heard Maria's voice. Over 8 months, Maria had become a lifeline for both father and daughter, though she rarely spoke about her own life. That night, Daniel was about to head to bed when he noticed Lily's bedroom light faintly on. Curious, he walked in quietly, and froze. Lily was sound asleep in her bed. But Maria was curled up on the hardwood floor beside it. She wasn't using a blanket. No pillow. Just her folded sweater beneath her head. Her hair had come loose from its neat bun, and her breathing was slow and steady. Lily's small hand hung over the side of the bed, resting just inches from Maria's. The sight stirred something deep in Daniel. This woman, who worked long hours caring for his daughter, was sleeping on a cold floor when there were 2 perfectly good guest rooms in the house. He crouched down and gently shook her shoulder. "Maria, what are you doing here?" Her eyes blinked open, startled. "Oh, Mr. Whitmore. I'm sorry, I must have. Lily had a nightmare. She asked me to stay until she fell asleep. I didn't want to climb into her bed, so, this is fine." Daniel frowned. "Fine, you're on hardwood. That's not fine." She gave a small, tired smile. "I've slept in worse places." She tried to stand, but Daniel saw the stiffness in her movements, the slight wince as her back straightened. Without another word, he grabbed a blanket and pillow from the guest room and returned. "At least use these," he said. Maria hesitated. "It's really okay." "No, Maria," Daniel interrupted softly. "You take care of my daughter like she's your own. Let me take care of you." She looked down, clearly unused to being cared for herself. The next morning, over breakfast, Lily chattered about a dream she'd had. Maria was quiet, sipping her tea. But Daniel couldn't stop thinking about the night before. After dropping Lily at preschool, he turned to Maria. "Do you have time for a coffee before you head home?" She hesitated. "I suppose so." They ended up at a small cafe on the corner. Daniel, in his tailored suit, looked slightly out of place among the early morning crowd of students and office workers. He took a sip of his latte and leaned forward. "Maria, why didn't you just use the guest room?" She lowered her eyes. "I don't have a room here, Mr. Whitmore. I live with my cousin in Queens. 2 buses and a train. Sometimes, when it's too late, I just stay until morning." Daniel blinked. "Wait, you commute like that every day?" "Yes," she said quietly. "It's not so bad. I've had harder commutes back home." "Back home?" She nodded. "The Philippines. I came here 3 years ago to support my family. My parents are older now, my younger sister is in school. I send most of my paycheck back to them." Daniel sat back, feeling a twinge of guilt. All this time, she had been making sacrifices he'd never even thought to ask about. That night, Daniel walked through his penthouse, thinking. His wealth had built this fortress of comfort for himself and Lily, but here was someone who made their lives brighter, who gave his daughter love and safety, and she was sleeping on floors or riding buses for hours. The next day, while Maria was out with Lily at the park, Daniel called a designer. By evening, the guest room looked entirely different. A queen-sized bed with soft linens, a small desk with a lamp, a bookshelf filled with novels and a framed picture of a tropical beach. He remembered Maria once mentioning she loved the ocean. When Maria returned, he handed her a key. "This is for you. Your own room. No more sleeping on floors or commuting in the middle of the night." Her eyes widened. Mr. Whitmore, I can't. You can, Daniel said firmly. Because you're not just an employee. You're family. Her lips trembled. No one has ever done this for me. The change was immediate. Maria's energy seemed lighter. Lily grew even more attached, often asking Maria to read her bedtime stories from the new bookshelf. Daniel noticed other things too. Maria started taking evening classes in child psychology, something she'd always wanted to do but never had time for. Months later, at Lily's 7th birthday, the penthouse was filled with laughter, balloons, and the smell of cake. As the candles were lit, Maria pulled Daniel aside. You know, she began softly, the night you found me on the floor, I was going to quit. I thought maybe I didn't belong here, that I wasn't good enough. But you made me feel seen. You gave me a place to belong. Daniel smiled, glancing at Lily, who was twirling in her princess dress. You changed my life too, Maria. You reminded me that family isn't about blood, it's about who shows up, stays, and loves without condition. And as Lily blew out the candles, the three of them shared a look, one that said they were no longer employer, nanny, and child. They were something much more.